Today I've got a car show tonight, so I want to do a little bit to spruce this up a little bit. As you can see, I haven't done anything since I swapped the engine. The front end was low. Initially, I thought, oh, I'll just jack up the torsion bars and raise the ride height in the front. But my personal preference, if it's a two-wheel drive truck, I like it low. First thing, I need to move the old 370 wheel horsepower box Cobalt before I can get my car out of the garage. I got to get this old LUV out of the way. And it only runs on 2 cylinders because it's got a blown head gasket and a clapped out engine. Let's see if she starts. Give her one pump. You hear it changing tone? All right, we should be in business now. Give her a pump, Old Faithful. Oh yeah, that's all she needed was some gas. Come on. All right, I got her in 4 low. I'm gonna go ahead and get her out of the way. All right, this old 06 Cobalt LS, it runs on E85. And oh man, that clutch feels light compared to the one in my LUV. This hasn't been started for at least a month. Let's see how she do. Damn, did you hear that ticking at the beginning? It seems like I'm having belt slip. Well, whatever it was, it must have sorted itself out. Sounded good. Installation instructions, who needs that? I'm just kidding, I'm gonna read them. Have the jack supported on jack stand so that the axle is suspended on top of the leaf springs. And you wanna have your front tire chalked, because if you don't have your front tires chalked, you can have this up on the leaf springs, or you have this up on the jack stands, and it could roll forward off the jack stands and smush you. So don't want to do that. First thing, these bumper blocks are I only have about 2 inches of clearance. So if I don't remove this, it'll be constantly riding on the bumper blocks. At the time I got this exhaust installed, I thought I was just gonna raise the front to match the back. Well, the day after, I decided, oh man, it'll look a lot better if I just drop the back. Well, this spring isn't compressed at all, but it's like right up here, so 2 inches, it's gonna be into it. I'm just gonna take this tailpipe off, and then we'll worry about it after I have the axle into place. Now these U-bolts need to come out. Yeah, those are coming off easy. I've got the U-bolts out, stock U-bolts. These are the ones that are going in there. Let's see how close they are. Okay, that's a good sign. That means we should have no problem fitting the stock lower perch, because that'll still stay on there. Now, the next thing, these have a nub. That nub should go in the spring. And then the axle should have the same nub that goes in here. And if we're lucky, it's gonna be the right size. If we're not, it's gonna suck. I'm gonna take 2 floor jacks, 1 on each side, and lift that axle up just a bit more than this block so we can shimmy this in there and lower it back down. There's a center bolt here that goes all the way through the spring. It should sandwich through all the springs like this and have a head on it, a round head on it typically, and that's what the seat sits on. That's the little nipple. I'm starting to lift this up and it's not one to separate. We're just gonna jack this up a little bit and hope that it's just stuck. These should lift off of there. This isn't a good sign, man. No way. Oh, well, I was gonna give a close-up of that, but that's what I thought. It was just stuck. Whew, that kind of scared the, I need to go wipe. As I was afraid, that indexing stud there is slightly too big. It fits on that one, okay. It does have a little bit of wiggle. I might have to have an alignment. But instead of trying, I don't have any way to grind this down, so I'm gonna drill that out. I think I'm gonna try to shift it to this side enough to go up and drill like that. And I'll do the same thing on the other side. Just shift it so I can get in here and go. All right, it looks like a 0.526. So I need a 32nd over, because 0.53 would be a 32nd over a ½ inch. I need a 17 32-second drill bit. Well, it turns out most drill bit sets only go up to a ½ inch, and the ones I have are no exception. So I'm gonna use a ½ inch drill bit, and we're just gonna kind of go to make it just a little bit bigger. As you can see here, I've got the axle shifted over to the side. I think I'm just gonna send her home on that. That'll be press fit maybe. Side effect of the bottom of the drop block having a bigger hole. You see that there? I've got that much slop. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna push both sides all the way back, and I'm gonna use the U-bolts to go ahead and pull it down on that plug. Universal. Anytime you see that, that means it's close, but it's not quite right. So keep that in mind. Definitely go out and get a 17 32-second drill bit. It's really dangerous if you get this clamped down and it's not all the way on the block. It's gonna loosen up as you go down the road and become treacherous. So I'm gonna let you watch this process, not so you can repeat it. Do not do this. I'm using this truck on a test course only, but this is for your entertainment. Probably easier if you do remove the shock. Now this shock plate has a center hole. It centers on that same spring bolt as well down below. So don't just try to jam it up there. Your washer and your nut. Get it started. At this point, when I get parts and they're universal, I just expect them not to fit right. That's just, you're gonna be a lot happier if you just assume they aren't gonna fit right, because they never do. So you end up with, well, this isn't quite right, but you can do it. Yeah. Now when you do these U-bolts down here and you're tightening the nuts, try to keep the same amount of thread exposed on all of them. That's kind of how you, because you can give her all on one side and it'll start to pull that and warp that U-bolt. You don't want to do that. So down here, you have the same amount of thread exposed, so just keep it even as you go around. You can see we are in fact clamped down on the perch. I've got a light on the other side, none shining through. We'll go drive it around a little bit and re-torque. Oh yeah, she looks way better.
This is the first time I've been under here since cruise night, which I drove around for about an hour. So let's see here
if it did settle anymore, if we're good. Okay, that one needed a little bit more. Not too much. That one's good. Okay.
While I'm under here, I think I'm going to go ahead and replace the rear shocks. It's actually one of the easiest things you can do. If you look at these, what do you think? Are those original? See the condition of those bushings? Yeah. I mean, they're crusty. So just basically zip off that nut, zip off that nut, jam the new one on.
Hey, the bushings were a little bit shot. They just kind of fell out of there. Try to push down on them as evenly as possible. Oh, I need to pull that one up a little bit. Okay. This is gonna be tough to try to, that one's already fallen. Oh, okay, that one's shot. Okay, let's try this one. That one's completely shot. Let's see what this one is. Oh, okay. What the hell? That one's shot too. There, I got a little resistance, but you can see the difference there. So that ought to make your handle quite a bit better. I will reuse what came off the stock. One of these goes on the inside. Let me slip that on. Wow, these are kind of boogered anyway. Holy moly. I don't know what that's all about. Oh, that goes on the outside. Okay, where's the big one? There we go. I think there's 1, 2. Yeah. Here we go. There we go. They wear out and people rarely replace them. I want to show you guys something here to consider if you decide to get a drop kit. And these are not tapered. Some drop kits will have a tapered block. They'll have about a 2-degree angle to them, so they'll be taller on one side and shorter on the other. And the reason for this, when you raise the suspension up, the pinion angle changes a little bit there. So if the block's tapered, you can see how my pinion's kind of pointed up in the air. If the block was tapered, the axle would sit like that and it'd be more straight instead of course I'm exaggerating with my finger here, but as you can see, I got straight blocks and I'm kind of like that. So this U-joint is constantly having to slightly pivot as it goes down the road, and this is going to wear out. I want to discuss this lift kit or this drop kit with you really quick. Right now I've got the 2-inch drop with the 2-degree pinion angle correction shim, and as you can see I still have positive pinion angle, which based on my research online, positive pinion angle is like a worst case scenario. You want to avoid it at all costs. For leaf springs, I actually recommend, around 3 inches of negative pinion angle. It's actually supposed to be the equal opposite of your transmission pinion angle of the drive shaft coming out there for best results. So this, what I have right now is supposedly a setup for vibration and binding, and it's just no good. So I had that kit ordered, but right now I've got to get tires on this thing and get it moved. But I wanted to let you guys know that this is not the way you should do it. I will be showing you how you should do it in the future. This is a stock LUV, and you can see it also has a positive pinion angle. I've got the 2-inch drop in here with the 2-degree correction angle shim. I've done a little research online, and my research has pointed me that that's the way these LUVs come stock. These LUVs come stock with a little bit of a positive pinion angle, which everything you read or see online or anywhere says, oh, you don't want a positive pinion angle at all. So it leaves me wondering, why did these LUVs come with a slightly positive pinion angle? It makes no sense. Maybe I do. You can ever so see it in the steering wheel, which that might be the front end. I haven't replaced any front end bushings or anything, but that's the only hint. And I mean, I'm cooking right along. That's the only hint of vibration I can find. You see there? It is vibrating a little bit. I think what I'm going to do, I'm going to go ahead and do the 4-degree kit, which should give me slight negative, and that's where we're going to call it good. Even though I got to redo it, I'm bothered having it not being right, but it's still a very big mystery to me why they came that way from the factory. So I got some parts to fix the pinion angle on the truck. What I went with this time was Mercy. You get it. 6102. These are an angled drop block. It has 2 degrees angle to it. But I already had a straight drop block with a 2-degree shim, and it wasn't enough. I still had positive pinion angle. And then I've got a 2-degree shim and a 4-degree shim to allow me to either have 4 degrees of pinion angle correction or 6 degrees of pinion angle correction. I have the 2-degree block with the 4-degree shim here mocked up. giving me 6 degrees total, which I kind of read that's kind of the maximum correction they recommend before you start getting this so slanted that the U-bolts kind of clamp weird. Now, unfortunately, this 4-degree block is too thick so that nub doesn't stick through. I've got this bolt that fits tightly in there. I'm going to use that to line them, and I'm going to epoxy them together before I set them on here and let them dry before I put them on. That way they're locked together, hopefully. But you can see there, with 6 degrees, that's what it takes. I tried the 2 degree plus 2 degree for 4 degrees all together of pinion angle correction, and it wasn't enough. Just using a flat disc to kind of rough these up a little bit. You can see there. Just to promote maximum adhesion, I'll wipe them down with some acetone too first, make sure I wipe away all the metal shavings. But just lightly hitting it. I don't want to take off
Yep. All right, I'll show you the setup I'm going with here. I've got this bolt which fits tightly, but you just thread her in a little bit, because if you can see this hole goes like this, and the hole inside this block goes like this. So you can't thread it straight up in there because there's a slight misalignment there. But what I'm trying to do is get this block as centered on this block as possible. And what else I'm using here is a shim that I'm not using. I've got these carriage bolts going through, and that way I can put some clamp load on it while the epoxy dries. You don't want the center bolt here holding that out of alignment flat. So that's about what ends up sticking through. But it is enough to keep it tight. And nice and clean. The block nice and clean. I'm just mixing up enough for one block at a time so that it doesn't start setting up on me should I be a little bit slow. All right, this time I'm using clean gloves. Definitely the way to go. Way more control. Verify the wedge direction. There we go. Okay, let's get this on here. Is that the one I used? I used this one. Come on, get on there, get on there. Okay. Oh, wow. Wow. Rotated right there. Got that nice and centered. Let's tighten this baby up. A little faster on this one. I already did it on this one. As you can see, there's quite a bit of overhang on that, and the overhang on a curved spring doesn't really, it's not a flat surface that it's sitting on. So to minimize that distance as much as possible makes it not have to overcome because there is kind of a flatter spot of the curve, so get that to sit down there as much as possible. Went ahead and shaved her off. I'm gonna do the same to this one. Here's what I ended up with. I think it's gonna work pretty good. So we got the 2-degree drop block plus the 4-degree angle shim for 6 degrees total, which they say is the maximum you want to do for drop. As you can see, the U-bolts are longer on the downhill side as you would think, and I can see why you wouldn't want much more wedge. You start getting too much wedge and things will get unstable. I just want to note there, I think I said earlier, you want to keep these even. Well, that's true for when you aren't using an angled shim. You look at that, the front, of course,
sticking through more because there's an extra almost, you know, 1/2 inch to 5/8 of an inch on this side. Now there's the pinion angle I ended up with 6 degrees. It took me 6 degrees correction to get to a negative pinion angle. I tried the 2 degree plus the 2 degree for 4 degrees total, and it looked almost neutral. I couldn't really tell if it was negative or positive. It was just too close to neutral, and I don't want to do this again. So I went with 6 degrees, and I think I made the right call. It's still not very much negative pinion angle. So basically you need the maximum correction, because for whatever reason Chevy Loves had a positive pinion angle from the factory. And a lot of people say, oh no, that's wrong, my truck's not that way. But I did put a post online, and everybody that commented either said it was wrong, but anybody that went underneath and took a picture, they definitely had positive pinion angle. So I'm pretty sure all Loves are that way, whether people realize it or not. But now I should have the correct as close to the equal opposite inverse of the angle coming out of the transmission. So we should minimize vibrations and wear and have it optimized completely. And I'm happy with it now. There she sits. I hope it's not too windy out here. It is super windy. God, there's gonna be so much wind noise. I think she turned out pretty good. Try to show you guys a ripski here, and we'll see if she's up to it, if she's vibrating. Vibrations whatsoever. I think it even took out that minor vibration I had in the steering wheel. Wow, look at that. Maybe that was the cause of the minor vibration. So if you have a stock LUV and it vibrates, it might be because the drive shaft is configured wrong. I mean, we were going, yeah, we're cooking right along, smooth as butter. I've never taken a selfie in my life, so this is really awkward for me, but I want to thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. I think it turned out good. Subscribe, like, share with your friends, whatever it takes. I know it's windy, but because it's 4th of July, I want to try to do a little burnout for you guys. Both tires! How many is that?